Zimbabwe has heightened surveillance and immunization after traces of a polio variant were detected in soil samples in Harare. Health and Childcare Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshwara confirmed to ZTN Prime that the variant was detected in fecal matter from one of the suburbs in the city. He said the country is considering introducing an advanced polio vaccine as a preventive measure.
Only that we think it's not going to just surveillance. Surveillance means cleaning people must tools out for the polio virus. And we also clean sewage. So Panama areas are not buried, crop, Kudililo. Akapigwa polio virus. Akapigwa sewage samples. Right. So all we do taking precautions. Was from an individual. So there could be somebody an polio virus here.
A special envoy from Belarus has met with President Mnangagwa following up on bilateral agreements signed with his counterpart, President Alexander Lukashenko, when he visited Zimbabwe earlier this year. The special envoy, led by General Victor Shimon, paid a courtesy call on President Mnangagwa at the State House today to cement trade and economic ties between Zimbabwe and Belarus. Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister Ambassador Frederick Shava spoke to journalists after the meeting.
Details yet, but just to say that he's a special envoy of President Telasenko, who is following up on cooperation agreements as discussed last January when President Telasenko paid a state visit to Zimbabwe. That's all there is for the moment.
Following warnings of low to below normal rainfall in the 2023-24 farming season, the government has stepped in to cut the price of water for farmers. ZTN Prime's Faith Nyawude gives us more in the following report.
Ordinarily, a farmer who draws water from dams for irrigation purposes has to part with $16.41 per megaliter. A megaliter translates to 5,000 drums. Now, with the below-average rains which have been forecast for the coming season, reliance on the country's dams for irrigation purposes is set to increase. For the farmer, an increase in water drawn from dams implies more costs.
The suspension of the water levy fund, which is currently $1.06 per megaliter. Secondly, a reduction of the sub-catchment cancel rate from $1 to 50 cents per megaliter. So a 50% reduction. Then third, and lastly, a downward review of the water allocation for irrigated maize.
In addition, the government has also abolished catchment and sub-catchment councils to streamline the management of the country's scarce water resources.
Local authorities have pledged to intensify and enforce bylaws to bring sanity to their respective towns. This comes after local authorities in Mashonaland West Province received training on environmental inspectorate from the Environmental Management Agency in Chinhoyi recently.
Inawo unit kubatana ndanzwa kufara kuti isusu semapurisa ekanzuru mapurisa elocal authority taizvitarisira pasi tichizidzvinyirira dzimwe mhosva dzaipa takatarisa tingazoiti imhosva zvino tawana masimba nekudzidza kwataita burikidza ema burikidza simpacts mukushanda kwatichaita tine basa guru.
Cricket news: Zimbabwe lost to Namibia by 8 runs at the Wanderers ground in Namibia, with the hosts claiming the 5-match series at 3-2. Chevron's captain Craig Irvine won the toss and elected to field first, with the bowlers immediately putting Namibia on the back foot. Left-arm seamer Richard Ngarava picked up 2 quick wickets and the power play, removing opener Matthew Van Lingen for a duck before getting rid of captain Gerhard Erasmus for 6 to leave Namibia reeling at 21-2. Now, wickets continued to tumble at regular intervals, with star all-rounder Sikandar Raza, the destroyer, and Chief picking up 4 wickets for 24 runs before veteran seamer Tendai Chatara cleaned out the Namibia tail with an impressive death bowling spell. He finished with figures of 3 for 7 as Namibia were bowled out for 101 in 18.4 overs. Now the Chevrons got off to a false start with the first 4 wickets falling for just 16 runs. Innocent Kaya was out for 1, Craig Irvine went for 0, Wesley Madevere had 4, and Sikandar Raza managed only 2 runs as Zimbabwe's well-documented top-order issues crept up once again. Now Zimbabwe never recovered and were bowled out for 93 and lost the series 3-2.